As navigestay Chazan to la conexión técnica y en lo sección gai ponchon. Okay. Abdo ajani naruchon lección sección gai pontap. Hi there. We're back. So we're gonna finish our lesson 5 in this session. Okay, so remember that we're doing simple sentences, right? So if you guys remember, we talked about that the basic sentence structure is verb and then subject, and then we look at the way in which we use this and that, right? So that goes right after the subject. And also we look at the focus phrases, right? So if somebody says, who runs every day, and then you want to say, this girl runs every day using this, so it would be Jabre Runratari, for instance. So we're going to be looking at objects today. There you go. So we're going to be doing 5.4 all the way through 5.7, which will be the end of this session. So let's look at these sentences. So we have back job, right? So that's a little bit more than what we've seen in our previous session. So it says the dog wakes the girl up. So now we have, remember, this is your basic sentence, verb and subject, right? So this verb that you guys saw earlier on the list, on the radish, right, or at radish. So now we have back, right? But the dog wakes somebody up. So who does the dog wakes up? The girl. So the dog wakes the girl up. So that's the object, right? And let's look at the next sentence. So what does Elena do? She boils the water. What does she boil? She boils the water. That's the object of the sentence. And then again, we have another sentence down here. It says, the teacher questions the girl, right? So what mindset mess? So the bee stings the teacher. Okay. What does she grab? She grabs a tortilla. Bad back. What does Pedro feed? He feeds the dog, right? So that's our object there. So again, we see, if you remember, that the R's, it tells you if a verb begins with an R, it tells you that that's a habitual verb, right? So that takes place every day, for instance. And then we have the noun, right? Which is, so this is the habitual verb, the noun, which is the subject, as we just talked about it. And then it's telling who the event affected. So that's the object. It says here that verbs followed by objects verbs followed by the subject, followed by object, is the usual order in Zapotec. So in English, on the other hand, the word orders is subject, verb, object, okay? So in English, it's subject, verb, and object. But in Zapotec, the order is verb, subject, object. There we go, here. Verb, subject, object. So let me say this sentence for you, and then hopefully you will be saying it as well. So I'm gonna say them twice. One more time. Next. Next. Again. Rgod mainser mes. Rnas japget. Rnas japget. Next. Ryan bed back. Again. Ryan bed back. So the basic subtext sentence pattern is verb, subject, and object. So usually it's referred to as VSO pattern, okay? So now it is your turn to do the homework here. So I guess I'll let you do your homework, but I guess on your own time, because now we're gonna continue with our next section. If you see right here that there are, in the beginning, I think that also you can go back and hear how it is pronounced, but we have two verbs here. It says ardier when it is done by itself. For example, I can say ardiernes, right? The water boils. But if someone is actually doing it, right? Standing there and then, doing this whole process, and then you use this other verb, and then it's pronounced ersudiev. So I can say, like, who is boiling the water? I can say ersudiev lilenes, right? So you have the object is, so we will have the verb, the subject, and the object. But in this case, on the first verb, ardievnes, we would only have ardiev plus nes. What's boiling? The water is boiling. But with this verb, someone is actually doing it. And I hope it makes sense how you use these two different verbs, because you're going to find many, many verbs similar to this one that they're related, but one is done by itself, or like in the case of the water is just boiling, right? The water is boiling. We say that in English too. But and then if somebody's like doing it, and you have to say lielen or ersudie, lielenes. I hope that makes sense. Okay. Another pair is the wakes up, okay? Referring to what someone does after sleeping. So we use the verb erbain. I can say erbain lief, Felipe wakes up. I wake up every morning. So I do it by myself, maybe I have an alarm clock, but I wake up by myself. Nobody wakes me up and say, hey, Felipe, wake up, right? No. But if we use this other verb right here, and then it means that somebody is doing an action to me. So I can say, Juan Lielen, Liep. It means Elena wakes Felipe up, right? Elena is waking me up. Whereas here, if I said Irvine Liep, I do it by myself. It's maybe I'm used to waking up at 7, I don't know, but nobody wakes me up. But if a person or maybe a dog wakes me up, I can say Liep. The dog wakes Felipe up, right? So just very similar to this one. This one is, you only need the subject, but here you need the subject and the object. Here it's with the subject, and again with the coin is it needs a subject and an object. Okay, so right here you need to figure out which one is which, because you have both of them, the Urbine and the Coin, and also you have Rdieve and what is the other one? Right here. All right. So let's go to 5.4, and I hope I'm not going fast for you guys. So again, if you guys remember earlier, we talked about the basic Zapotec order, which is what? Verb, subject, object. Okay. But now we are going to change a little bit the order here. Is the word order changes a little bit here, and then we talked about on the previous section about these focus words, right? So like here it's underlined again. If you guys remember earlier with another verb and subject that was where the subject was underlined. So the girl grabs the tortilla, right? So if I ask you a question, I said like, who grabs a tortilla? And again, that's the focus, right? Like that focus is going to be on the person who grabs the tortilla. So you're going to say, me, the girl grabbed the tortilla, maybe the girl instead of the boy. Does that make sense? I mean, so we're focusing on a particular person, okay? So in Zapotec, we say, Jap, Rnasgat, right? And then in English, in this English sentence, we say, the bee stings the teacher. Maybe the teacher got stung, right? And then I ask, what stung the teacher? What stings the teacher? And you tell me it was the bee, not a wasp. Does that make sense? So that's why we have this focusing on the bee. And now in Zapotec, we also begin the sentence with that focus, like what stings the teacher. So it's mindset that word mess. Okay, and the person boils the water, I don't know, maybe it's supposed to something else. I don't know, monkey. But that's again, that's where we're focusing on that person, right? On the person. A person boil the water. So again, right here we have buñ arsudievnes. And our last sentence is the boy feeds the dog. Maybe not the girl. It was the boy. It is the boy who feeds the dog every day. So so I'm going to pronounce these words for you so you can hear how they're pronounced. So I'm going to say them twice and hope that, you guys could pronounce them as well with me or after me. But I really hope that you do practice how to pronounce them. So here we go. Jap Rnasgat. Mindset Erguot Mess. Sorry, I'm going to go back here. Jap Rnasgat. Again. Jap Rnasgat. Mindset Erguot Mess. Mindset Erguot Mess. Buñ Arsudievnes. Buñ Arsudievnes. Mniin Rjan Belko. Again. Mniin Rjan Belko. Okay, so now we're going to do something different. It says, in a similar way, sentences like the following involve focus on the subject. The first sentence might be used to answer the question, what does the girl grab? Okay, so the girl, what does she grab? She grabs a tortilla. The girl grabs a tortilla. Gatarna shop. Okay, the bee stings the teacher. Okay, mes ergot mindset. The person boils the water. So in other words, it was not, I don't know, chocolate that the person boils, but the water. Okay. So again, so this is the water, but in Zapotec, it's going to come first. Okay. So if you can see this one in English, it's right here. And then again, given, the English sentences is at the end. Okay. But in Zapotec, the focus is going to always come at the beginning, even though in English it's at the end of the sentence. So the tortillas, the teachers, tortillas get, teachers mess, water is nies, and the dog is back. So just so you guys, whenever you see an object here, right, it means that's the focus of the subject, because the regular sentence always begins with a verb, right? So we have the verb, subject and object, but the object, if it is focused, is going to come at the beginning. So for now, I'm just going to say the sentences so you guys can practice, and then you are going to be on your own doing the your homework. So I'm going to say them again twice, and I hope that you guys could join me. So get shop. Get shop. Mes ergot mindset. Mes ergot mindset. Nies studiei buñ. Nies studiei buñ. Very tricky, huh? Back. Arjanam niin. Back. Arjanam niin. All right. So do your homeworks, please, please. All right. So it says here that sometimes the situation is more complicated. However, consider the following sentence. Mnar kwanyamnin. Does this mean that the woman wakes the boy? For instance, in answer to the question, who wakes up the boy? Or does that mean the boy wakes up the woman? Yeah, it could mean either one. Mnar kwanyamnin. So I could say, who does the boy wake up? And it is, the focus is on the woman, right? But sometimes you can't really tell. But just keep that in mind, and then we'll try to address that question a little bit later. But for now, let's continue working on the next section, which is 5.6 sentences with two objects. So we just saw this sentence with one object. So now we're gonna do two objects, okay? So for this section, we're gonna be looking at the verb gives or they, okay, which can be used with two objects. So remember the basic sentence, right? Which is the verb, subject, object. Okay, but now we have two objects. So let's go over this one. It says the woman gives the book to the child. Okay, so here we say erdeid na lever amnin. Okay, so the woman gives the book to the child. Okay, and so I think that here the first English sentence seems closer to the Zapotec word order, right? Remember that we talk about the order of the words, but both means the same thing, and we will use both types in English sentence in this book. In Zapotec, give sentence starting with the verb. However, the order is, remember, verb, subject, and given item. Okay, and then who gives it? So like this one. Let's look at the English sentence here. It says the woman gives the book to the child, right? So in Zapotec we say lever erdeid namin. Lever erdeid namin. So what does the woman give to the child? Remember that always think about the verb, subject, and objects. Or in this, and when you have two objects, you need to focus like here. There's the given item, and then the recipient goes at the end. Okay, just remember that. So these are focus sentences. So what is given? What does the woman give to the child? The book. Okay. Who gives the book to the child? The woman. All right. And again here, okay. Remember, this is the one who gives, and this is the recipient. So, okay. To whom does the woman give the book to? To the child, right here. So remember, guys, that whenever you see the underline, it's the focus of the sentence. So, but again, that's the basic sentence. Whenever you see something else here, it means that that's a focus sentence. And right here, okay. So now we're gonna be doing, if you guys remember that we went over this and that, and remember that this is re, the E creek E check, and then the re, it's this E creek E plain vowel, plain vowel, okay? So here we have the woman gives this book to the child. And in Zapotec we say, lieve re, rdeid, mnavnin. Okay. The next one, mnare, rdeid, lieve mnin. Next one, nin re, rdeid, mna liever. So again, remember? Okay, so this is a focus sentence. So let's look at this sentence. It says that there are some Zapotec verbs that can be used in more than one sentence type. As we've learned that the word means things, right? When the subject is an animal like a bee, the word can also be used with two objects with different meaning, as in the word in yah, which means pox in this sentence. So the boy pokes the stick at Miguel. Okay. So in Zapotec is erguot mniin yahgel. All right. So when erguot has an object, it means things. And when it has two objects, it means pokes. Okay. So like something pokes something at someone or something. But still, you will come back to that. There are going to be more examples, but right now just pay attention to the basic sentence, the word order. So again, just to remind you, it is verb, subject, object. Okay. If you see something else at the beginning of a sentence, it means it is a focus sentence. So there is more homework to be done. And then our last word to use today is was, which means really, very, and this is the way you use that. You can say the dog really barks, and then we begin with sentence with was. Okay, so it usually comes before the verb, as you can see on these last two sentences as well. The boy really runs. So run means runs, right? And very. So the boy really runs. I mean, literally, really runs child. So, it means the boy really runs. It just it comes at the very beginning of the sentence, and then we can see that the last sentence for today was shop. So I'm going to say these three sentences, and then I think that we've come to the end of our lessons. Okay, and then you're gonna do. Let's see a word search as well. Yep. So that's the end of our sentences. So what I'll do is that I'll just pronounce this for you. Again, next, one more time, and then one more time, I guess that's it for today. Until next lesson. Okay, bye. Do your homework.